So everybody here, we have 3 SEASPAR full-time staff here today helping with the training. So we have, myself, and then we have Dawn and also Karen.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Karen.
Well, each of us has a different section that we'll be talking about with a lot of important information. I think I said this in the email, but I do really believe this is one of the most important supervisor trainings we've had in a while, just because there's so much new information. We've done things for so long the same way, but now we've had to, pivot and change a lot of things up. So definitely, if just to get through all of our information, if you have a question, you can either write it down and wait till the end, or at the bottom, there is a chat option where it says chat, and you could click on that and type in your question to everybody. And then at the end of the training, we'll go through those questions on there. Or like I said, just write it down. At the end, we have designated time just for questions. So feel free to take on those questions, but we are going to wait till the end just so we can get through all the important information, because we do have, the other training a little bit after this. So pretty much, if at this point, if everybody could have their audio muted, just it makes it easier to hear. And then what's easiest, as I found, and for similar programs, is to have your view on speaker view. And in that way, the speaker, whoever's talking, will be the only one in your screen. So, it's gallery view, and it's at the top. To change it, it's at like your top right, and it says speaker view or gallery view, whichever one you click on. The gallery view is when you see everybody's little box. If you click on speaker, you'll just see the one person speaking. So whichever one you prefer, is fine. So let's see. And then, so for this in-service, which is a little bit different, but you will be submitting a timesheet for the trainings. I'll go over why we're doing that just for this in-service. So before, we've had an attendance sheet and you just signed in and haven't needed to complete a timesheet. However, for this in-service, you will need to complete a timesheet. And then in the program box, you can just write training in for this training, where usually you put in a program name. And then, since this training and the next training is paid, if you watch it here live, and then also if recorded, you will be paid your assist rate for taking the time out of your busy day to learn with us and talk about all the changes at SEASPAR with programs. With that, and the reason why you'll be submitting a timesheet is because each time during my presentation portion, Dawn's presentation portion, and Karen's, will be holding up a sign with a SEASPAR related phrase on it. So so you'll have 3 phrases related to SEASPAR in some way that will each hold up, and then that's just so we know that there's a lot of information we really want to make sure everybody's actively there and no one's kind of falling asleep. I know you guys won't, because you guys are amazing. So when you email me those timesheets, just add those 3 little phrases too, and you don't have to have the exact words on it, or if you just get the gist of what each of us will hold up. So pretty much I'll have one during my speech, and then Karen will, and then Dawn. Does that make sense? Pretty much. Yes. Okay. Wonderful. Perfect. And then let's see. So after this training, the training will end, and then for the support staff training, which is after this, you'd log into the second link that was given to you in the email in order to access that one. And it says the support staff training one. So you'll, exit this one and then go back to the email and click on that secondary link for 7:45. And then, so the main goals of today, we really, we want it's really important to have safe programs for everybody involved, our participants, our parents, our staff, people in the community. So that, we've worked really hard to make sure that we can, we've changed a lot of programs up in order to be able to ensure that there's going to be, safe social distancing and that we're following all of the guidelines that we need to be following. So a lot of the changes, are because of those reasons. The main reason we want to keep everybody safe from what's happening right now. So the biggest changes, and I know some of this has been sent to me email. So some of you are already aware, just if you've spoken to me, in the last month or so, but we now have virtual programs. So our virtual programs all will be on the platform Zoom. So this is the perfect time for you guys to log on to Zoom and see what it's like to be in a virtual program. Because this is when you guys logged in and we're in the waiting room, that's exactly what's going to happen for the participants. So they will log on and at the program time, if the program starts at 6, you'll admit them into the program. But it's kind of nice that you'll get to experience what it's like for the participants as well. So they just sit there and wait till they're admitted. And the staff leading the program will do that, and we'll speak about that a little bit later. There's no transportation, which is huge. So no picking up participants, no drop-off pickup points at all. The only exception is we do have 2 very popular parade programs where one's for Halloween, one's for Christmas, where we have, 4 or 5 SEASPAR drivers, and they drive, the participants register for the program, and they drive to each of their houses and have a little parade, a SEASPAR parade. It's been, we've had great reviews from the one we did. We did 2 in the summer. So that's the only time really we'll be using vehicles. However, there'll just be one vehicle, one person on every vehicle, and the participants, we just stop by their house. They're not allowed on the vehicle at all, because I know we have some part-time staff who are in that program. So just for that program, no participants or parents are allowed on those vehicles, just you as the driver. And then let's see, we also have we have assessments for participants and program eligibility guidelines. So some of the participants might not fit into those guidelines for in-person programs, and those are to ensure safety of everybody. So you might see, you might wonder why some people are in programs. Maybe they didn't register. It all depends on the assessment guidelines for each of those programs. So, and then we'll be adding in the supervisor binder, the guidelines, just so you have it as a reference. So a lot of the things we're going to talk about, especially Karen's going to talk about, is going to be in the supervisor binder. So none of this stuff has to be, memorized. This is the first time we're going to go through it. And feel free, I know it's a lot of information, to watch the recorded training if you'd like, just to kind of, if something, wasn't clear the first time, because I know it is a lot. Or feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to talk to you over the phone or over Zoom just to clear up anything, because we really want, a successful fall season. We're so excited to have you guys back in programs with us. And a lot of we had to change programs so they're just shorter in length. We can't, there's now going to be eating at programs, so Kim can't have her 10-hour programs like we used to at this point. So, and there's going to be a lot of safety guidelines that we're going to address later on in this training, that Karen's going to talk about, that we will be, having to abide by at programs. So some fall season updates and procedural updates, new binder pickup times and procedures. So in the past, you're able to come by and just pick up your supervisor binder. However, the Downers Grove Park District, their times that they're open are unpredictable. It's not listed on their website, and it's ever changing. Sometimes, if they have nobody that's in the building and nobody signed up for a personal training session, they'll lock it. So we don't want you guys coming to the office to pick up a binder and to find that it's closed. We don't want that happening at all. So if You can, of course, come, we'll binder pick up the first, and I will email this information out, all the supervisors, but binder pickup starts Wednesday, September 16th. So you can either, if you have flexibility during the daytime, great. You could come by the office anytime, Monday through Friday, 8:30, 4:30. The office is open, so that works just like usual. And then you just come to the front office and just say you're here for your binder, and we'll get you the binder and all of your supplies for the programs. If that doesn't work out, which I already know it doesn't, that's fine. We do have scheduled times where a full-time staff will be at the office waiting, for people to come, for supervisors to come in to, sorry about that, people to come in to pick up their binder. So, and these are after hours. So starting on Wednesday the 16th, we'll have somebody at the office 4:30 to 7. Same with that Thursday, 4:30 to 7, and then Friday, it's only 4:30 to 5, and that's because, so it's a short period of time, but that's only because Downers Grove closes at 5. They close a little bit earlier on Fridays. And then Saturday and Sunday, we'll have somebody at the office 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. that Saturday and Sunday. So if for some reason, if you know what time works for you, it might be helpful if you could email me. Just because if I know nobody is coming at a certain time, I could let that full-time staff know, hey, you're not needed. However, I do know that you guys might not know what time works for you right now, and that's definitely okay. So right now we'll keep those times open so you can just drop in when it works in your schedule. And like I said, I'll definitely be emailing you those times and explaining in my email just to supervisors for the binder pickup. And then, so another reason why we have the binder pickup procedures a little changed is because we do need to monitor and make sure to know who's going to be in the SEASPAR office. We do cleanings all of the time, and we're monitoring who's in there just in case something does happen. We need to know who is in the office at pretty much all times. So this is another reason why we will have scheduled times. And going forward, if there's supplies you need to pick up, halfway down the season, or you need more, whatever it is, art supplies or whatever it is, I can't think of programs right now, forgive me, but whatever it is, what you'll do, the new process, instead of just, coming into the office, and picking it up in the multi-purpose room beforehand, you'll talk with the program coordinator who oversees that program, and they'll be responsible for working with you to find out what time works for you. And when you come in the office, they'll be there. So you and that coordinator will, pick a time that works best. And if there isn't a time for a coordinator, it might be a manager too helping out, since we know everybody has different availabilities and maybe somebody isn't available. But you will need to schedule a time with that coordinator to pick up any additional supplies. So after supervisor binder pickup, if you are coming to visit the office or need to pick up things, please let that coordinator know, just so we can monitor who's coming into the office, at all times. And let's see here. And also so Downers Grove, since it is unpredictable, what's unfortunate is our mailbox is inside the Downers Grove doors. So if you're turning in a timesheet or bringing back something small that you usually put in the drop box, Downers Grove might be closed. So anything that could be emailed, that would be best. And I'm going to talk about a few things that we've changed because of the Dropbox for SEASPAR being inside Downers Grove, so you wouldn't have access when Downers Grove is closed. So for that, for timesheets, if you could fax them or email them, because I would hate for, like I said, for you guys to come to the office to find out that it's closed. So if there's any way you could fax them, or scan them, take a picture and email them to me. If you're not able to do that, just give me if you could stop by during the office hours, perfect. And if not, send me an email and we could coordinate a time for you to drop it off. I just want to make sure that the Downers Robe is open, and it is open, you know, typical times, only throughout the day to clean, and if they have nobody in the building. So in those times, we've asked it changes day by day. So I just want to make sure you know, there's somebody there for you. So I think this season, there's just gonna be a lot more communication between everybody, which is key, just to make sure all of the information is getting to where it should be and everything is going smoothly and there's no frustration. So if any of this, I should say, feel free, yeah, call me, we can talk about it, because I want to make sure it's clear for everybody, and you know, everyone knows where they're supposed to be, what their new responsibilities are. So definitely reach out after this if something isn't clear. And then let's see, so if you are a supervisor living away, so I know some people aren't able to pick up the binders in person. We already have that figured out. So I know some of you live farther away, you're at college, and it isn't feasible for you to come to the office. So what we're going to actually email you the supervisor binder information. So if you have a printer, please print that out and use that. But we will be contacting you individually, because I know who those people are, and I know there's a few people on here. So if you can't come to the office, I already know a few people, just know that we'll be emailing you. You're not expected to, you know, come to the office if you're in St. Louis or, you know, in a different state. So, and then let's see here. And then, for program summary. So in order, like I said, to kind of, you know, reduce the number of people coming into the office and the chance of maybe the office being, you know, locked, for program summaries, we've updated it a little bit. So on our website, there's timesheets there too, but you'll go to our website, and under the employee volunteer tab in the top middle, you'll click on that, and then under it is employee documents. You'll go in there and you'll scroll down. There's a program summary. It's a new one. There's also a fillable PDF and a regular one that looks like the typical paper one. But under that, there's one called an online form, which if you can, this is probably the easiest for everybody. So this is the one I'm going to encourage you to use. But this one, you're going to go into, you click on it, and then you're just going to type in the information on our website, and that's going to be sent directly right to Dawn Freywick. So this one, and we've shortened it a little bit to make it, you know, as efficient as possible. So if possible, I would encourage after every program to go to our website, and again, under the employment volunteer tab in the employee forms, click on the program summary. It says in parentheses online form, and that's the new one, the most efficient one that, you know, you could fill out, and that form goes to Dawn, and then if there's any issues or concerns, she'll talk to the coordinator or the manager in charge to get it figured out. So we on our end will communicate through that. So that's probably the easiest, since, you know, the mailbox at SEASPAR is, you know, unpredictable. So just sending it, you don't have to scan it or save it. All you do is type it in. It's actually pretty nice, and then it just submits it right away to SEASPAR. So again, it's just the online form for the program summary. And then, so attendance procedures. So luckily we haven't changed this one up. So for virtual and in-person programs, this is the same process. So you'll be getting in your supervisor binder, your typical attendance sheet. So just fill it out per usual, and definitely, you know, it's very important to see who's coming to programs, who's not, especially right now with COVID. So it's important for us to know who was there. So definitely be, you know, vigilant as always to make sure that you've filled that out. And then, let's see. And then, so communication with coordinators. So like I said before, there's going to be, this is just our thought process for this training was just kind of the 101 training for fall for supervising online programs and so virtual, I should say, and in person, since they're, virtual is completely new, and with in person, there's more safety guidelines. So, and the program's dynamics have been changed up a little bit. So after this, meeting where we go over the basics, then, the program coordinator who oversees the program you're supervising is going to reach out to you, and then you will meet with them specifically to talk about that program you're supervising and the specific program details. So you know exactly how that program is set up. You can ask the questions to the coordinator because the coordinator is the one who knows best. So that's kind of training number 2. So with that training, I want you guys to know that that also is paid. So we understand everybody's busy. So if you need to, so any training you have with us you are compensated for your time. So you also will fill out a time sheet and put training on there for if you meet with Kim Huggins for 45 minutes to talk about one of the dances or whatever it is. Definitely, please put that on your time sheet just so we can compensate you properly. And let's see, and then continue to contact the assist staff before the program starts with all the changes. I tried on the assignments to write after the program name if it was in person or virtual, so there was no confusion, but I would suggest to add that to your text or your email to any assist staff, just so they know, oh, this is an in-person, please meet at McCollum Park at this time on these dates. Or it's a virtual program, please follow this link and log in at 4:45 if the program starts at 5. Pretty much for virtual programs, it's the same as in person, where you'll arrive 15 minutes before the program starts. The only different would be if the program lesson plan said differently. So maybe there's set up for a program that takes a little bit longer than 15 minutes. So check the lesson plan, and that would say, oh, please arrive a half an hour early. Thinking about our programs, I don't think that would happen too frequently this season. So mostly the 15 minutes early would happen, but definitely check that just so you're aware what time to show up and you can let your assist staff know. And then, so Karen's going to talk about this more, but I just wanted to say, I just want you guys to hear it a few times today, but at programs, in-person programs, everybody, staff, and participants, volunteers, everybody needs to wear a mask. The mask should be covering your nose and your mouth. So masks at programs. And then let's see, in your supervisor binder, you'll notice that there's a few more items in there. There's a bottle of hand sanitizer and a package of these wipes. So if the season goes on and you need more, definitely communicate to us and we can get more out to you. There's also going to be poly spots. So poly spots, they're these little not plastic, but I'm not sure the type of material, rubber little colorful spots that we will be using at programs, and it'll be listed on your lesson plan because not all the programs need it. But if you're doing a stretching, and we found this summer with some of our programs, it was for social distancing. It was nice to put these poly spots down on the ground so participants knew how to stay, 6 feet apart. Or during, let's say like a water break, where we do have water breaks. Well, and it's called a mask break, where if you're getting water, obviously the participant and staff need to take their mask off. So we will have designated times for that, which it's allowed to take your mask off and take a drink. But during those times, we want participants to really make sure that they're socially distanced. So the program coordinator will have that on the lesson plan and will write in if there's going to be poly spots in the program that you are supervising. So those poly spots would be in, your backpack or in a bag with, other supplies for your program when you pick up. So those are just the poly spots. And then, so participant wellness questionnaire. So this one is important. So for in-person programs, every participant will be asked a wellness questionnaire. So before they even get out of their vehicle, we want to make sure that, they're well enough to attend the program. So what with your mask on, you'll walk up to their car, stay 6 feet up. The parents have been instructed to have their mask on, and the participants should also have their mask on as well. And you're going to ask them, I think it's like 7 or so questions. If they have a temperature, have they been around somebody who, is tested positive for COVID? Ask a few questions about how they're feeling. So all the answers to these questions should be no. And then if all the questions are no, then they could exit their vehicle and come, join the program. But this is important because we want to limit exposure if somebody is not well. So in this, it did work well. A lot of the parents got very used to it over the summer, and it does get a little redundant, but we still need to be vigilant every time asking these questions. There will be a sheet, it's a graph that will be in your supervisor binder where you'll write their name and date and check off all the questions that you asked. So this is very, very important, something new, but it's a way for us to, ensure, make sure our programs are safe. So this is a new procedure we've, put into place. So it's called the Participant Wellness Questionnaire. And let's see, I want to make sure I hit all of my, yes. So, and so that's for the participants. So and you can either have the, you can either have, the supervisor should be doing this. So the participants just need to wait in their car until the supervisor comes over. So just let them know, please wait, I'll be with you in 5 minutes. It worked well this summer and we didn't have any issues. So the beginning part does take a little longer, but it's kind of the way it has to be. So,
Shannon?
Oh, yes.
I'm sorry. I'm just thinking of Friday Night Fun Club. We have participants that drive themselves, so they have to wait in their car until we can get to them?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
and if they're their own guardian like that, which I'm assuming they probably are, you can ask them the questions themselves if they can answer it,
Okay.
and give you the answer. So yeah, so those participants that come themselves, you can ask them the questions.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep, good question. And then, so for supervisors, so while we're going to be doing a questionnaire for the participants, we're also going to be monitoring our staff too. Just like full-time staff, we check our temperature before coming into the office and give it to our supervisor. So for programs, we're going to do something similar. So this one, maybe write it down somewhere just to remind yourself, because I could see this one being easy to forget, but it's important not to. But what you're going to do is before the program, I'd say like an hour before, it can be 5 minutes before, an hour before, kind of keep it, the longest, an hour before the program. You're going to just email the program's coordinator of your program. So if it's Saturday Night Socialites, that would be Megan. If it's a SO program, it would be, Matt. So Matt Recke, there's 2 Matts. So pretty much, and all you're gonna do is a short, simple email and just say temperature and then put what it is. And then on our end, we're just kind of logging it just for documentation purposes. So for every program before it, you'll wanna email the program coordinator. So I don't know if you could I was trying to think of the best way, if you could set a reminder on your phone or write it in, on your lesson plan or whatever it is to remember to send it in. If you do forget, not the end of the world, you do have 24 hours to email them what your temperature is. Please, don't make that a habit. It's important that we're monitoring this. So, but we understand it, the world is hectic. Everybody's a lot going on. It could happen. So, but try to, email that coordinator your temperature before the program. And then, so for the assist staff in the program, so pretty much you're going to be, when the assist staff get there, which is going to be before the participants, you're actually going to ask them the same wellness questionnaire that you're going to ask the participants. So you're going to ask them, do they have a temperature? Were they by somebody who has tested positive? All of those same questions listed on the sheet, which will be in your supervisor binder, that you will ask the assist staff in your program. And to make it easier, you're going to write just the participants and the staff on that same wellness questionnaire. So pretty much as a supervisor for in-person program, and of course this is just for in-person, virtual, you don't have to do any of this, but for in-person, you're going to be doing the wellness questionnaire on the participants and the assist staff. And most of our assist staff, so it's not a whole lot because we do have to have a maximum of participants. We can't just have 50 people in a program like we've done in the past. Things are unfortunately have changed. So the most we have maybe is 5 staff, but for most of our in-person programs, it's 3 staff. So it's not, you're not asking 10 people to fill out all these questions. It's just probably 2 max. And then the most in programs would be 12 participants. So it's not, it's contained a little bit. So, and that's another reason why you want the assist staff to get there that 15 minutes before, so you have time to do their staff wellness questionnaire. And then, yes, and then let me see. Well, maybe I'll wait to the end for some of the chat things. Well, I guess for the one, what do you do if you want to indicate if someone's Zoom internet cuts out? You could just put that on your program summary. So you can just, still mark them because they attended the program, but on their program summary, just mark that, hey, Molly was there for the first 20 minutes, but then she had to leave, not sure what it was, just so we can monitor. If it's continuously happening to Molly, maybe we could reach out to her and help her with her computer. So great question. Yeah, she still attended, but then right on the program summary for that. So yeah, so now I'm going to hold up my first little sign. And then this is what you'll write down for your timesheet when you submit it to me. SEASPAR, and all of us should know this. So SEASPAR partners with 12 communities. So just something about SEASPAR that I feel like all supervisors should know. So SEASPAR partners with 12 communities. That's all you have to write on your timesheet. And then, did everybody get it? Okay, all right. So that's the end for me. If you have more questions, definitely write it in the chat box. I'll take a look at it and then have answers for your questions at the end of the session. So right now I'm gonna turn it over to Karen, as Karen's gonna go more in depth with some of the safety procedures. All right, you're up, Karen.
Oh, there, have to unmute before I talk. Hi, everybody. It's really good to see you. We really have missed seeing your faces and all your energy and the support you've provided to the participants. They ask about you, and I know they're really looking forward to seeing you again in programs. Some of the stuff that I'm sharing today is the regular safety items that you're probably thinking, yeah, we've heard about masks, we've heard about washing hands, but it's really important that we review this again based on how we would like the protocols to be followed for SEASPAR. We've been wearing these masks and doing the hygiene for several weeks. So if this may be redundant, it may be something you think you've already heard, but there's some key points in which we'd really like for you to pay attention to when you're at programs with participants. And first off, your safety and the safety of our participants and their loved ones and their families is our biggest concern and highest priority. So we've been working on first, phase 3, we had to have guidelines establishing people coming back to the office. And then right now is phase 4, Restore Illinois, doing in-person programs. And what does that look like? And what are the requirements of our full-time staff versus, now that we're kind of unfolding some of these in-person programs, what safety concerns we need to keep in mind. We are following all the guidelines from the CDC, Center for Disease Control, from the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, the Department of Labor, and as well, DuPage County has been guiding us with providing good information and solid information and follow-ups with us. As well, our insurance company, PDERMA, Park District Risk Management Agency, they have been providing us guidelines, but we had to jump on this on our own and say, okay, what are these situations going to entail? What do they look like? And now what do we have to present to make sure everybody's safe? So kind of my rule of thumb that I'd like for you to just remember and keep in the back of your mind for any situation. And I put this in our guidelines for full-time staff, our agency, as well as throughout some of these documents that were shared with you. Treat it as if. So just any situation, treat it as if. Treat it as if there's exposure, treat it as if maybe somebody in the group could possibly be carrying the nasty COVID. Treat it as if you've touched something and you could be a carrier. So just keep that in mind so that it's kind of like you're hypersensitive to it. So you're always remembering it because that is of utmost importance. When people get laxed and people kind of feel nonchalant and now we're opening up and we're going to restaurants, everyone becomes relaxed and they don't pay as close attention to the seriousness of this pandemic, which I wrote something to all our staff a few weeks ago. It's still present. It is lurking out there everywhere. So we have to treat it as if it's around us and then take our precautions. If you are ever in doubt of, what you should do, either contact the coordinator of your program or please feel free to call me or email me if you're stumped, and follow your gut too. If you feel like, oh, this situation is making me a little uncomfortable, call out on that and ask us, because we are here to make you successful and for you to have good programs without worrying about issues that you don't need to worry about. So treat everyone's safety as number one, obviously. Oh, somebody else is here in a waiting room. Jory. Okay. Okay, so the guidelines that were put together, I'm not going to read every single one, but I am going to highlight the ones that I think are of the utmost importance. In your backpacks, all the staff are going to be equipped, as Shannon said, with hand sanitizer, a bottle of it, not a big monster bottle, but maybe 10, 12 ounces, 10 ounces, and then a bag. A soft-sided bag, like of what you'd see diaper wipes or something in. And there's usually 70 to 80 wipes in there. And as Shannon said, if at all, whenever you feel like your supply's getting low, send me an email or let Shannon know or your coordinator, because I have been busy with shopping at Menards and we have a lot of supplies. We also have some of the bigger tubes of hand, antiseptic wipes, but they're bulky and it's not something that easily fits in your backpack. So I got the squares that I think would be sufficient, but when you run low, please let me know. You've talked already about the pickup and drop off point. Shannon said all staff must set a good example and wear face covering. Participants must bring their own water bottles. We are not providing any drinks. We aren't sharing any drinks or food. There are some exceptions at programs with food as long as it's pre-packaged, and really there's not a lot of hands, a lot of passing. If it's a box, hold it out there so that they can grab one versus a lot of handling of things. So that's one thing. And it's really important that our families try to focus on bringing their own son or daughter or whoever they're the guardian of to the programs on their own versus carpooling. That just kind of opens up another exposure, which not everybody needs. But some of our families are so used to carpooling. If they do carpool, we need to have communication with the parent who is not there, either a written note saying, yes, I've checked off the wellness questions that we sent to them ahead of time, or they initial something that, yes, I agree, we did the wellness questions and everything's okay. That would be helpful. And for the people that are driving themselves, they can verbalize for themselves, or pace bus, they can speak for themselves. Let's see. Shannon talked a little bit about mask breaks. Those really should be when you are outside in an open area, not an enclosed area. And you got to remember to make sure people are pretty distanced when they're outside to get those mask breaks. And I think they're healthy and they're needed, and it just feels good for everybody. Something that I learned that I wasn't even going to put in my notes, but I heard about what they were calling a Zen moment. And they said it's really important before you put your mask on to take some deep breaths, like breathe in to the count of 7 and hold it for 4 seconds, and then breathe out, and do that about 15 or 20 times. I mentioned this at one of the other orientations, but they said, think about it. When you have a mask on, you're not getting 100% oxygen. So this just helps fill your body with some good, fresh, clean oxygen that isn't interrupted. And then it was advised when you take your mask off to do the same thing. And it relaxes you and it kind of centers your thoughts. And I think it's really helpful, because if you're wearing the mask for quite a long time, you're not getting 100% air back and forth. So that's just a tidbit. We talk in the guidelines about social distancing out, and think through the program, maybe have a plan for when you're going to sit, kind of, designate where you envision the participants to be sitting at various tables spread out. Another thing you can do for the social distancing is when you're up and out and doing activities, just to kind of take a moment break, like a distance check is what I was calling it. It's kind of like freeze tag, and see where you're at and put our arms out. Are we, 6 feet from each other? Swing your arms around a little bit, and that's going to help as a reminder to the participants that this is how far we need to be constantly, not just once or a while. And also try to think through traffic patterns. We discussed at one of the Eagles sites that maybe the traffic walking into the kitchen should be on the one side and leaving the kitchen should be on the opposite end, just so you're not walking close together. And it's hard to remember. We see each other at the office, and somebody's in the production room, and you just want to go around the corner and say hi, and you have to catch yourself and step back. So I'm proud, if I can be, I'm proud of all the people that have been at the office really honoring the mask wearing, the social distancing, the hand washing, and respecting space and cleaning. We have a sanitation schedule, and we clean 3 times a day, and everybody's been doing that. And that's just keeping ourselves and keeping our partners and friends and coworkers safe. So designate your seating within the 6 feet. And then if you have any equipment, you want to make sure that you sanitize all the equipment at the start and at the end of the program. This probably relates more to some of our sports programs where they're actually bringing some spray bottles for the bigger equipment, and they're trying to alleviate, passing around different basketballs and equipment. So they've come up with a plan for that program. Hand washing and or sanitizing is critical at the moment that people arrive at the program. That should be the start, okay? And it's kind of a good way to get everyone in the routine of, okay, when we start programs now, we're gonna start with washing our hands. If it is hand sanitizer, they should rub their hands the same way they do with soap. I always say, try to remember to get in the valley and go in between the hands, especially too, we always forget about the back of the hands. So in between the back of the hands and then the valleys, that's critical. And the key times for washing hands at the start and at the end of the program. After somebody happens to either blow their nose or sneeze or cough. Obviously, after the use of a restroom, we want to make sure hands are being washed. And then putting on and removing our face coverings. You want to make sure your hands are clean, that nothing's on your hands before you put the mask on. Obviously, we have to really remember to avoid touching our eyes, our nose, and our mouth. These are like the vessels in which those germs can go in. So wearing a mask under your nose isn't doing you good. They've done lots of studies of how the particles can get up into your nose. So the mask should, fit well, cover your nose, not having a lot of gaps on the side, and fit comfortably, but not too tight, not too loose. Now, I've experienced a lot of masks that seem to slip down. And it's really hard to remember to not touch the mask. But if you can maybe try to use the string on the sides to pull it up, that helps. If a person is at a program, is starting to show some kind of signs that they're just not feeling well, maybe they can't identify exactly what it is, but they're just not feeling right. And this could transpire while they are there. You want to go through those wellness questions again. Is it, tightening of your chest? Are you coughing? Are you lightheaded? Are you nauseous? Do you feel feverish? Now, there was something in the paperwork, and I wanted to clarify. We've been back and forth about thermometers. And we're not ruling thermometers out completely, but our Risk Management Association has strongly discouraged us from taking temperatures. But wherever you go, whether it's a hairstyle place or whatever, it seems like everybody's taking temperatures. So we're on the fence. We've debated it. We're weighing it out. We're not closed-minded to it, but I have not purchased 45 thermometers yet, because in essence, it would be for everybody who's leading a program. But I really believe that you can find out from somebody if they're not feeling well, if they're feeling feverish, you can put your hand on their forehead. Do they look flush? I think within a 2-hour program period, if somebody's not feeling well, you're gonna see it. They're gonna be hopefully expressing to you some of their symptoms or some of their concerns. But you want to keep your eye out on everybody and just not assume that they did their wellness check and they passed and here they are. Those symptoms can show up at any time. So you would want to remove that person right away. If they said, you know, I'm really not feeling good, remove them at least like 30 feet from where the entire group is. You want to call the parents immediately or guardians. And they have all been told that they need to keep themselves immediately available so that they can come and pick up their son or daughter or whoever on a minute's notice if somebody happens to start feeling sick. And then we start a sanitation process. And then at the end, we would complete either an employee accident report form if it was a staff, or just an accident incident form if it was a participant. So if it's any staff, whether it's one of you or a support staff, that always goes on the employee form. And you don't have to fill out any behavior forms or anything else to it, just that form. And make comments that the person started feeling sweaty and they were coughing, you know, unusual. It's not like this is allergy season. You're knowing that you're coughing a little bit more, but I think it might not just be one symptom. It could be several. It could be, you know, one slight thing like not a taste of, you know, smell or taste. But at the end, you want to make sure you fill out an accident report form, just stating the facts that this person came to the program, they've, you know, completed the wellness check, but during the program, they were feeling tired, sluggish, didn't feel good, stomach upset. And then I would encourage you to possibly call me. I don't care what time or day it is, but those situations we want to kind of get a jump on as soon as we can if something unfolds and turns into something bigger. But the main concern would be making sure that you isolate that person from the rest of the group and not drawing a lot of attention to it, but just saying, hey, out of respect, this person isn't feeling real well. He's just going to sit out for a while and kind of not draw a lot of attention to it. So that's the guidelines. Boy, so many times we've been over the PPE, the masks, the gloves, how to take off gloves, how to put them on. And I know it could be one of those where you could roll your eyes and say, oh my gosh, I've been through this 1,000 times before. But treating it with COVID kind of takes on a whole new awareness and I think alertness. So just as a reminder, I know, again, it's nothing new. It's just a refresher. And those masks or gloves or whatever, they are protecting others from you, but in essence, they're also protecting you from other people too. So it's a dual love and compassion for our friends. So for our face shields or a face mask, whatever kind you have, I happen to have one of these breathable, disposable face masks. It has the little bendy thing for your nose. So as a reminder, I'm going to start this by washing my hands first so I can make sure my hands are clean before I'm touching anything. I'm touching a mask. When you put it on, if you can at all avoid touching the mask, that's ideal. So you want to put it over where your nose is. There's that little indentation. When I put it over my nose, I then go with the strings right behind my ears. And there we have it. If it starts sliding down, I try to use the sides and not touch the fabric. So you can kind of go from the sides. If any of you have glasses, you know that that's a little bit of a challenge. Sometimes they do start to slide down, but you want to make sure that the sides are pretty enclosed, that there's not some real gaps. If anyone ever wanted to wear a shield, that's fine. You can do that, but you still need to wear a mask underneath. It could be a cloth mask. It could be one of these disposable masks. We purchased a big box along with some other special rec associations of these black masks. It was right away when this COVID hit. And we ordered like 500, but they were sight unseen. And unfortunately, they weren't of good, thick quality. They were like t-shirt material. But we have about 500 of them. So we are going to be packaging them all up. And I would advise if any participant arrives at a program without a mask, you can hand them 2 or 3. I mean, if you triple them up, they'll be fine. And they don't have string. They just have a little slit for the ear. So it's like fabric that would go around the ears. So already you can see that the mask has slid down. So again, I try to remember to just touch it by the sides and not be touching it all over. I hate the word and again, act as if your mask could very well be contaminated. So you don't want to touch it, you know, treat as if. And I loved that saying early on because I continue to hear it and I think it's really valuable. Treat everything as if. That way your caution and your heightened awareness is going to be, you know, more in tune with taking things safer than taking it lightly. So we know about a mask. To take it off, you would use your hands, your fingers to take it off by the strings. And my suggestion would be, I don't know what you do, you can do whatever you want with your mask, but I typically put my mask in a bag, like a baggie. So that way, if it's somewhere like in my purse, it's not getting all kinds of gook on it, like, you know, threads or debris or anything else. So here's the mask. I guess we can wait. To Shannon. Okay. So glove wearing, let's see. I'll just do this really quick. With the gloves, when you put them on, make sure your hands are washed. To take them off, you want to make sure and treat as if the glove has been contaminated. So you really don't want to touch the outside of the glove, but when you pull it off, you pull it inside itself. And you do the same thing with the other. We've been through that quite a few times before. Okay, so quickly, the special question for this segment of the training is the 3 W's. That would be wash your hands, wear PPE, and watch your distance. Okay, did you get that? Yep. Okay, lastly, we'll be really quick on this. This is the agreement for SEASPAR staff. Please read through it. It's the same information that the wellness questionnaire has, and it's asking that all of you have been informed on social distancing, on hand washing, mask wearing, and you've seen the wellness questions and you're willing to answer those and tell your supervisor what your temperature is. And then Shannon said by September 17th, we would like for all of you to sign off, just acknowledging that, yes, I went through this and I understand. I've included a what if scenario because we were addressing all new situations that none of us have ever been familiar with. So it was kind of like all these questions started coming up. What if a participant doesn't bring their mask? Well, we have some extras. What if their mask breaks? You know, we can give them one. but I suggest that if you read through these what if scenarios, it gives you all the answers. And if any of you have questions, please direct those to me. We're going to continue to get what if questions because this is such a new experience for everybody, this whole pandemic. So we're learning, but we're enjoying learning, and we're enjoying knowing that we're finding really good ways to take care of our staff and our participants. So I believe there is one other document in your binders about the return to in-person programming eligibility, so you can see what was told to the parents. Okay, and with that, I'm done. It's hard to know how long we all were going to be taking. So if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat box, and I'm going to pass it off to Dawn. And thanks, everybody. Thanks for being patient with COVID to-dos and PPE. Okay, thanks.
Thanks. All right, so I get to talk a little bit about our virtual programs and how we use Zoom. SEASPAR has dove fully into virtual programs and using Zoom, and it has been such a fun way to connect with our families. In April, we quickly tried to figure out a handful of programs that we could connect with our participants so that while we were all stuck at home, we could see some familiar faces, and they've just taken off and done really, really well. And it's been fun to see our participants on the screen and interact with them. And some of our guys just like to be on the screen and stare and watch, and others like to interact. And so it's been a really cool way to give our guys that social interaction through a bunch of different programs. The dances have so far been our biggest hit and have been mostly everybody's favorite. So if you're supervising or staffing a dance, there's usually 30 people in it, and it's a screen full of everyone having a good time and dancing. So lots of fun. But I just wanted to share with you guys a couple of things that we've learned along the way, and how to start a program in Zoom. So you guys are going to be, as the supervisor, instead of following the link like you did today, it's really important that you are the person who physically starts the program in Zoom, because if you don't start the program as the supervisor, then everybody will just get a box that says waiting for the person to start the program. So it's really important to remember, if you're the supervisor, that you can't follow the link that you were given, but you have to go into Zoom and start it for everybody. So I'm gonna show you guys how to do all that stuff today, but it's just a really important thing to remember when you're the supervisor of the program. SEASPAR has 3 Zoom accounts because we do have a good amount of programs going on. Some overlap with each other's, others don't. So when you guys get your lesson plans, you'll see another added information that we have on there is the Zoom account that you should be logging into, along with the password. So we'll make sure that that's very clearly distinguished on the lesson plan, so that you are in the correct Zoom account, because if you're in the wrong one, you won't be able to start the program. So you'll have all 3 passwords and all 3 Zoom account information. And along the way, if you have any issues getting into any Zoom accounts, you can call any one of us at any time, because that will be a very time-sensitive situation for sure. So I created it's about a 9-minute video, so I'm going to start it now and show you guys. And then Shannon's also going to share that with everybody after the training, so you can rewatch it. But it is me more talking and showing you guys how to click through from start to finish to use Zoom, and how we've been using it for SEASPAR. So I'm just gonna share my screen with you guys and start the video. And then, like I said, you guys will have access to the video after also. So, well, Shannon, is it okay to? Okay, all right, here we go. All right.
Hello. Today we are going to discuss using Zoom for our virtual SEASPAR programs this fall. So the first thing you're going to want to do is go to zoom.us and then find the tab for sign in. And here you will enter the SEASPAR email address and password that was given to you by the coordinator of the program. We do have 3 different accounts, so it's very important that you follow the email address and password that was given to you for that specific program. Because if you are leading 2 or 3 programs, you may be logging into different accounts for each of those programs, but that will be clearly listed on your lesson plan. So from here, you're going to sign into the program and into Zoom, and then you're going to click on the meetings tab, and that will lead you to the list of programs that are happening within this Zoom account. So you want to find the program title of the SEASPAR program that you're leading, and they're all listed by in time order, and then the days, the programs that are happening that day are all at the top. So you're going to find the SEASPAR program title of the program that you're supervising. As the program supervisor, it's very important that you log in to Zoom and physically start the program, because everybody else that is joining the program will only have to follow the link, and once you start it, they'll be into our SEASPAR waiting room. So making sure that you're the person who physically starts it as a supervisor is really important. It's also important to peek at any other programs happening after yours, so that you know you need to be done at the end time of the program, because then the next supervisor is coming in and they will be starting another program. So once you find your program title, then you're going to click Start, which launches you right into Zoom for that program. All right, so I'm going to open my Zoom meeting, and my box is going to pop up on my screen showing me the screen of what the program looks like inside of Zoom. So here you're going to see the button for your microphone. If it's turned off, you're muted, so you want to make sure that's turned on. There's also an arrow here to give you some help if you're not able to hear yourself. You might just need to click to a different speaker on your system of your computer. And if there's a dash through your video, then that means you need to click that to turn it on. But because I'm doing a recording right now, I am not able to do that. But if that was on your computer, you would want to click it so that your face pops up on the screen. Next, you're going to head over to this button called Participants, and it's going to open a dialog box here on your right-hand side, and that is going to kind of be the place that you see all the participants who are in the program, along with your staff, and chat once the program gets started. So first things first is you're going to head over to this line that says SEASPAR Staff Host, which is you, and you want to rename it to your name. And I am just going to put Dawn K, SEASPAR Staff there, so that when the participants see me on the screen, they see my face and they see my name. It's very important to keep this open so that you see when people enter the waiting room, and then you're able to monitor who is coming into the program, and you'll see their names pop up. If any SEASPAR staff join, or a part-time staff or SEASPAR staff join the program, and you see their name listed on the side, you can go ahead and let them in, because we all as staff will meet into the program 15 minutes before the program starts, just to make sure that we're all good to go. Everybody is working through any of the bugs of the microphone or computer that they have going on. So that's all you have to do to get the program started. And then when you have somebody else joining in the program, you will see their name pop up on the side, and it will say waiting room. And then there's a button that says admit, and there you will wait until the time of the program starts to be able to have them join in the program. But if I had somebody else join in the program, which is me, in my office. We're having crossover microphone. All right, so this would be if you had 2 people listed into the program. And from there, you're going to see there's 2 names here. So you just want to ask if any of your staff are coming in the program that they rename themselves, or you can click and rename them as well. Another really important thing for your other staff that are in the program with you is to assign them as a co-host, so that if anything were to happen with your internet, the whole program wouldn't shut down, but they would be able to continue on running the program just as if you were there. So that's a really another very important step that you want to make sure you do. You also want to monitor the chat box. Right now, we don't have anything going on there, but if you wanted to send a message to everyone, you could enter that there in the chat box. If you needed to send a message to one specific person, it would say privately, like if someone's having an issue or they're having trouble connecting or aren't able to turn on their microphone or their camera, you could send them a private message through there. But you do want to always monitor the chat box because sometimes our participants love to add in and talk to each other, and it's just really important to make sure that nothing is going on inside the chat box that is inappropriate. And if it is, we'll address that right away. Also, another important thing to make sure you have on is gallery view. So right now, this is gallery view. If it was speaker view, it would put my picture here and then all the other participants' pictures up at the top very small. So by choosing gallery view, it's going to make the Brady Bunch style view of the program, which is what you want to have. And then if you were to be using any other programs or music, you could use the share screen button to do that. And we'll go into further detail as we talk about it down the road. We also have the option for breakout rooms, which would be here, another thing that a coordinator would help you with further along down the way. So as participants are coming into the program, you want to let them pile up here in the waiting room until the actual start of the program. And then there's going to be a button up at the top that says admit all, and that is going to allow you to enter all the participants into the program. But you can let them sit in the waiting room until the start time of the program. And then I always just look for the staff in there and let them in sooner. Then you're going to go through your program just like you normally would. And when program time is over, we usually try to give everybody a few minute warning. You know, we're wrapping up program. We hope everybody had fun. And then at that point, you're going to say goodbye. All of the staff and the participants love to wave and say goodbye to everybody at the end of program. And a very important thing to do as the host of the program is when you hit the end button, there is one button that says leave meeting, which you do not want to choose because then that would keep the room open for anybody else that's in it. But it's really important that you choose end meeting for all so that the entire program in Zoom closes and it pops off everybody's screen so that nobody is left in the room to have a video chat with each other during that time. So once you click end meeting for all, then your meeting is over and your program's over. It's a very abrupt ending to the program. So once you hit it, it just shuts it down for everybody. So usually we like to give everybody a little time to say goodbye to everybody and chit chat with one another before we end it. But it feels a little weird right when it's your first time ending a program because it just shuts it down. But when you do it, you get used to it at the end of the program. So that is the normal progression of the end of our program. So I think that is the basic information to know when you are starting a Zoom program for SEASPAR as the supervisor of the program. But of course, our coordinators will be reaching out to you independently to schedule your own Zoom practice so you can go through all of those steps and try them for yourself before your first program. So if you have any questions, please be sure to reach out to myself or Shannon or any of the coordinators that you're in communication with about how to run your specific program. And thank you guys for helping us out run all of these great programs for our participants, and we look forward to
Okay. So we, like we said, there's a lot of steps to running the program, but once you get in there, it all is really easy to see what you need to do, but there are just some of those intricate steps. But whenever I'm running a program, I always hit that participants button and keep it open on the right-hand side so you can kind of just be monitoring what's going on. So we'll be telling our staff that later on this evening as well. So if you guys have any questions, you will have that individual time to chat with your coordinators and practice these things. So we'll make sure that the coordinators are getting in touch with you guys so that your first time you do it is not in a program with our participants, so that you feel comfortable when you start. So, but thank you guys, and we're always all available to help as we get going and making sure you guys feel comfortable. So, my secret word is waiting room. So the Zoom waiting room is where all of the participants and staff will wait for you to start the program. So as the supervisor, just making sure that you are aware of the waiting room and allow everybody in the program when it's time to start. But waiting room is all you need to write. Thanks.
Thanks, Dawn. I think now we have some time. I know I was monitoring the chat room and it looked like, I think we had answered all the questions, or, you know, they were answered in some of the documents that Karen had discussed. All of those documents I emailed out yesterday morning along with the COVID agreement. So definitely the scenarios that Karen was talking about, those are all in that email sent yesterday morning. So definitely review those just so you have them. And they'll also be included in your supervisor binder. Does anybody have any questions that they were holding to the end?
I do, just real quick. Hey, Dawn, I had a quick question regarding, and I'll probably go over with the coordinator that's working with me, but do we have access as the host? Like, I've been on Zoom meetings a bunch of times, but not as the host. But when we do we have access to be able to mute the group? Like, in case we have someone that's having a rough time or needs to take a break and they're disrupting everyone else, we can kind of mute them to kind of stop it. Okay.
Yeah, there's a button once you are the host and I think co-host too. There's a button on the side and you can choose individually. Like when you have that participant chat box open, you'll see everybody's names, and I can click on anyone's microphone and turn it off.
Okay.
The only thing that you can't do, Zoom made some updates to make it safer for everybody, is you can't unmute people, but you can ask them to unmute. So there's a button that says more, and then you could say, it'll say, like, if someone's camera's off, you can say ask to turn on their camera and it'll pop up, or ask to unmute and it'll pop up. So it takes some time for some participants, but yeah, there was a participant that the parents were in the background, like yelling, and I could, and it was going on during the program. So I just like hurried up and mute them really quick. So it's, we're going to talk about it with the staff as well. For everybody that's in the room, there's going to be always 2 staff to be monitoring that stuff, and always use the mute button if needed. And I think you can even turn cameras off on people.
Okay.
So
cool.
It will be an important feature to have in mind.
Thank you.
I had a question also. The COVID agreement, is that only if we're supervising a program this season?
Question. No, that's for every single staff. So
Okay.
we'll be talking about it at the next meeting too, because everybody needs to sign off on it.
Okay. And you said that was emailed?
Yes, I emailed it yesterday morning, I believe.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And it was with like 4 attachments.
Okay, right.
It was like the reminder for this meeting.
Okay.
You receive that. If not, send me an email.
Okay.
Colleen, you have a
Colleen, yeah.
I'm just wondering, when you say take temperature, what is the cutoff for the temperature? And is it only for in person? And yeah, I guess that's it.
Okay, we're not taking temperatures right now, but it should be, does somebody feel feverish, or do they have a temperature that exceeds 100.4?
Okay.
But if, I'll address Cheryl's question right now. If a participant comes, carpools, they have nothing from their own parents signing off on the wellness, what do you do? And they don't answer the phone call. Those are all some what if questions, but just to make sure everyone hears the answer, try again to make another phone call or another emergency number. Remove that participant if you can and try to isolate them a little bit more. Social distancing for sure. More PPE, more hand washing. So still allow them to participate, but try to keep distance. And then I would also fill out an incident report form saying they arrived, we had no way to contact the parents, we don't have anything stating that they passed the wellness questionnaire, but our staff would go through it with them. How are you feeling? Do you feel feverish? Is there anything unique or different? So you would go through those questions yourself if they don't have it accompanying them. Hope that helps. Any other questions? You guys have been a good group.
That's great questions. And if you think of any, tonight, if you're pondering SEASPAR and thinking about programs, feel free to reach out to us and we'd be happy to answer them. We just want you guys to feel, fully confident when we go back to programs. So definitely this is the time where, we're available even during the season. If something strange happens, definitely let's talk through it, figure it out, because maybe it's happening in another program. So, we try to think of what happened this summer and scenarios and situations that occurred. However, there could be something that happens in a month from now or related to weather or snow or whatever it is. So definitely reach out and communicate to us. Feel free to, email me if I can't answer it. I'll talk with Dawn and Karen, and we'll be sure to get back to you in a timely manner.
Shannon or Karen, are you guys going to provide any type of masks for staff if a staff member's mask becomes soiled that they wore to the program? I realize you mentioned the black ones for participants, but will there be anything in our supervisor bags for us to use if something becomes soiled?
Yeah, because sometimes they break or somebody sneezes. Yes.
Okay.
We just had a donation of 100, but I'm not sure what that use will be, but I grabbed some actually last night, like a package of 10 or something, just to have in your backpack.
Just the backup, that's all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ones in there can be used for staff as well. If you have a supervisor or an assist staff and they need a new one, and those are in there for any of us, any participants. So yes, and then if you run out, there should be like 10 or so in each backpack. Let us know. We have a lot and we want to make sure we have those backups just in case something does happen to those masks. So yeah, great questions. I love these.
Yeah, good questions. So use the black ones, double or triple them up, but we'll have the extras for the staff, like Shannon said too. Well, throw the questions at us when you think of them. Send an email. We're happy to help. We want to make sure that you are 100% comfortable because, this is serious and we've all, I'm sure, heard of somebody that has been exposed or had it or whatever.
All right, well, it's 7:30 on the dot. I know everybody could participate. We'll end the supervisor training now. The support staff one, which I think a lot of it is redundant, but I think it's important for you supervisors to be there to hear the questions some of the assist staff may have, and we'll be talking about a few other things. So please, if you can, join us for this next training at 7:45, and you'll log into that separate second link on that email. So, all right. Well, thanks for
guys. Thanks. Great seeing you all.
Right,
Thank you guys so much.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
5, 4, 3, 2,